Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to Big Blue Nation. All right. So, by all accounts, the New York Giants are in the final stages of finalizing a deal with John Harbaugh to be their next head coach. Reports were late last night that John Harbaugh was on a plane on his way back home to Maryland. No deal had been reached from what they said. He was still scheduled to have an interview today at his home with the Tennessee Titans staff, and wake up this morning and all reports are saying that he has canceled that meeting with the Tennessee Titans, and at this point he's focusing all of his efforts on getting a deal done with the New York Giants to be their next head coach. This is an exciting time for the Giants. The Giants have been at a crossroads the last couple of years. We've been through Ben McAdoo and Joe Judge and Brian Daboll and Pat Schumer. And nobody has really been able to stick and turn this organization around. I don't think they had the leadership qualities. Harbaugh brings in that CEO style of coach. He's going to come in and he's going to demand excellence right from the beginning. He's going to take over. He's going to take over the building and really command and hold people accountable. And that's what the Giants really need right now. They need somebody to hold them accountable. He's not going to be the play caller. He's not going to fight for play calling duties. He's going to bring in quality coordinators, and he's going to delegate those responsibilities to those people. And he's going to kind of run the big picture with the Giants organization. Let's just hope that this is a good thing for the Giants going forward, and he's going to be the coach for the New York Giants for the next decade or more. If that's not the case, and he kind of burns out. He is an older coach, 63 years old. I mean, that's not incredibly old. But that is getting on the older side. And at some point, he may decide that he's burnt out and wants to go the other way. That's the only downfall of hiring a coach like Harbaugh is that threat. But I don't think he's even close to being there yet. But we do have the benefits of him bringing in his coordinators, and hopefully he's grooming somebody to be the next Giants head coach if he does decide to step away from the organization at some point. When you look around the league, really, it seems to be this was the best fit for John Harbaugh, and this was the best opportunity really out there based on all the pieces that are currently in place. You have what appears to be a franchise quarterback in Jackson Dart. He's only got 1 year, not a full season on the books, but he showed a lot of exciting flashes. He showed a lot of possibilities. So, it looks like he is going to be that franchise type player, that the quarterback position that the Giants need. The next couple of years we'll be able to really tell that. And I think John Harbaugh and his staff can really help guide him along, give him some maturity, give him some stability within the organization to be able to grow. You also have people like Tyrone Tracy, who is coming off a 1,000-yard season combined between rushing and receiving yards. He had a fantastic year by all accounts. You have Cam Scatterbo coming back, who was very electric, in the Giants' backfield. He proved to be that guy, that you really couldn't bring down. People are having a hard time tackling and get him to the ground. He brought a lot of excitement and enthusiasm to the field. You can tell when he was on the field, the Giants played at a completely different level. So we'll have him coming back. You have some pieces in place, as well, too, at the wide receiver position when you have Malik Neighbors, number one wide receiver coming back this year. The offensive line seems to have done a tremendous job this year. The offensive line seems to be in a lot better this year. There's still some question marks there, and I think the Giants can work on the offensive line in the free agency period and going forward into the draft to bring in some depth there. Obviously, Andrew Thomas is a lock at the left tackle position. Jermaine Illuminor, is an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year, at the end of the league year. I believe the Giants do bring him back. He had a fantastic year at right tackle for the New York Giants. The guard positions are really where the question marks are going to be. And in the center position, John Michael Schmitz has done a great job for the New York Giants this year. He's really shown some growth in that position, and I think he continued to grow, with a quality coaching staff. And I think a lot of the other young Giant players continue to grow a lot under the leadership of somebody like John Harbaugh. Defensive side, that's going to be a question mark. Where do the Giants go? And the defensive side with a coordinator, who does Harbaugh bring in? Obviously, I wouldn't mind seeing Antonio Pierce come in and be the defensive coordinator for the Giants. I don't know if that is in John Harbaugh's playbook, but that could be a possibility for the Giants. But we got some great pieces on the defensive side of the ball as well. You have players like Brian Burns, who's still on contract. Obviously, the young Abdul Carter. Statistically wise, if you look at his statistics, sacks and stuff like that, it doesn't jump off the board. But if you look at a lot of the other things, the quick pressures, the amount of times that he was in the backfield, tackles for loss, if you look at some of those other statistics, he had a fantastic rookie year for the New York Giants, and I think he can only continue to grow on that as he matures and he continues to work with a true veteran like Brian Burns. I think can really help him develop into that franchise-type player on defense. There's going to be some questions at the linebacker position. I don't think the Giants, Bobby Okereke is on contract, but I think he could be a cap casualty. Maybe they cut him and restructure his contract, bring him back in a restructured contract. Michael McFadden, who was injured, he's a question mark. Do the Giants bring him back, as an unrestricted free agent? And then in the secondary has always been the big question mark for the Giants going forward. You have players like Cordell Flott, who had a somewhat decent year. Adubo, had a decent year. But the Giants really need to shore up, and they really need to create some depth at the secondary position. And I think that's something that's going to be a focus for the Giants in the offseason, both in the draft and in the free agency period. Like I say, Giants fans, we're looking up. We got our coach. I think we will have, I think they'll have an announcement of a contract by the end of the day today. I also think that the Giants are going to lock up their coordinator positions by the end of next week. I don't think, I think some of those guys that they may want to bring in may be doing head coaching interviews. And I think a lot of the organizations, now that the Giants have moved so quickly on John Harbaugh, they're going to zero in on their candidate and they're going to move quickly to get those positions locked up. So hopefully, like I say, within the next week and a half, the Giants can lock up their coordinator positions, get into the building, start meeting with the guys, and really get this going for next year. Like I say, I think the Giants can truly contend for the NFC Championship next year. Washington seems to be, in a state of limbo. You don't know what's going on there. A lot of turmoil within that organization. And the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a playoff loss from the 49ers, where the offense just hasn't carried them this year. The offense really hasn't been there. So a lot of question marks within the offense. The defense, I think, carried the team all year. They definitely have a great defense and a solid defense. But seems to be that they have a lot of question marks on the offensive side. So I think, like I said, I think the Giants could easily contend for the NFC Championship next year. And let's go Big Blue.